Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Rishi, and this is the part 2 video for Form 1 Chapter 3 Squares, Square Roots, Cube Roots chapter. That's a long chapter, at least the name is long. So, this is a part 2 video where we will be going through a part in this chapter that I missed to include in the previous chapter. We will go through that and we will be solving problems involving this topic. So without any further ado, let's begin. So the part that I missed in the previous video is estimation. Estimation is not very difficult. It's kind of approximating something that we do not know. For example, let me give an example. We have the number 28 squared. Assume that you do not have a calculator with you and you expected to solve this mentally. Assuming that you have not watched the video on how to square in your head, you are kind of helpless now. You have to write down everything one by one, 28 times 28, then you'll find the answer. But if they ask you to estimate it, you don't have to be accurate. You don't have to be that accurate. So what you can do is, as we know, the numbers that end in 0 are much easier to be squared. For example, 10 squared is 100. 20 squared is just 2 times it by itself, you will get 4. Then you're going to add 0 2 times. And then for 30 squared, it is 3 times 3, 9, 0, 0. That's it. Pardon my 0, it looks like a 6. Okay, now it looks like a 0. Okay, so if you were to estimate the value of 28 squared, what you can do is take 28 and then see what it is close to. Let's go up and down. 28 squared, 28, the number itself is closer to, if you go up, it's 30, and if you go down, it is 20. So 30 and 20. So as we know, 30 squared is 900 and 20 squared is 400. With this, it is logical to assume that 28 squared is going to be much closer to 900 rather than 400 because 28 is closer to 30. So we can say that 28 squared is more or less the same as 900. So this wavy equal means that it's an approximated value. It's not exactly 900. It is somewhere near 900. So if you now take your calculator and try to type in 28 squared, you would get 784. 28 squared, the actual value is 784. Of course, it is not exactly the right answer, but estimation wise, this is what we do. This question is quite rare to come up in your examinations, but you might have them for your topical assessments, topical tests. So just make sure you know this. The effects of this estimation being accurate, if you were to type in 3.6 squared into your calculator, you would get the answer of 12.96. 12.96. As you can see, the values are not that off. 16 and 12.96, they are close to each other by 3.04. So, estimation part of mathematics is just to deduce and approximate if you are uncertain of the value. But this question coming up in exam is quite unlikely, but it's important to know because it's part of your syllabus. Alright, we have covered all the essential part in this chapter. Now we are moving forward towards the problem solving. So here we go. So problem solving, let's start with something that we did not do in the last video. In the last video, I explained to you about the concepts and how it works. Now we're going to use and apply the concepts in different situations so that you understand what you're actually doing. So first question, the square of -5. So same thing, assume there is a square and the sides are -5 and -5. Although it's impossible for a square to have negative values, take it in a conceptual sense, it's possible. Conceptually, even conceptually, it's not possible. Just for the understanding, assume that it's -5. So what you're going to do is -5 times -5. This concept is very much relevant to what you studied in chapter 1, form 1, integers. So when a negative number is multiplied by another negative number, you would get a positive result. So -5 times -5, you will get positive 25. That's it. -5 squared just means -5 times -5, which is 25. And don't have to put any signs because no sign means positive. That's it. Let's move on to question B. Same thing, but slightly different. Instead of squared, now we have cube. So cube actually means you're going to multiply the fraction by itself 3 times. So 4 over 5 times 4 over 5 times 4 over 5. And then you will get the answer. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. That's it. See whether you can simplify this, but you can't because one ends with 4, one ends with 5. There is no multiplication table that has both of the numbers as the last digit. So with that settled, let's go to the next question. C. The cube root of 0.512. Now, this is where I have to tell you something. All of these 3 questions, although it's important for you to understand how they work conceptually and how to do them manually, you are still allowed to use your calculators. According to KPM for sekolah menengah, which is secondary school, you are completely allowed to use your calculator to find the answers. So if these questions ever come up on your exams, if the marks are high, I would advise you to do the manual working so that you can get the marks. But if the marks are low, it's like 1 mark or 2 marks, and you know that the marks are only given to the answers, just the answers, feel free to use your calculator. It's completely fine. So if you type in the cube root of 0.512 into your calculator, you would get the answer of 0.8. I will give you a few seconds to just try it out to see whether you can get the answer or not. It's 0.8. So for these 3 questions, you are allowed to use your calculator, no problem. And for the rest of the questions, you are allowed to use the calculator, but it's important for you to show the examiner or show the marker that you know what you are doing. You're not just typing in digits in a calculator, hoping that some kind of miracle will help you to get the answers. Alright, now D, there's a cube. Each face of the cube has an area of 2,500 millimeters squared. So when you get problem solving questions and if it's a situation, it's almost always important for you to draw it out if there is no picture given. Even if they have given you pictures, it's very important for you to annotate on the picture itself so that you have all the details you need in order to solve the question efficiently and with perfect accuracy. Alright, so there's a cube. So that part is evident. We have a cube. Cube. Let me draw the cube first. And please don't think that I am a great artist. It's just that this app makes it easy to draw this cube. Alright. Now we have a cube. So each face of the cube has an area of 2,500 millimeters squared. So if you were to find the length, what you should do is, I will let you think for a couple of seconds. Okay, let's make it 5. If you want to pause and try it for yourself, feel free. I will reveal the answer in 5 seconds. Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, hopefully you got the answer. So 2,500. So to find the length, you should first have the understanding that both of this length are the exact same value because it is a cube. Not just these two, this included. The height, the width, and the length are all the same number. When you know that something squared gives you 2500 millimeters square, because to find the area, just times the length by the width. All right. Yeah, this is height for the cube, but I'm saying in terms of area, if you take it just as a square, you will have length here and width here. Okay, so what you should do here is you should square root 2500, because we are trying to find what multiplied by what will get you 2500, which is 2500. So let's see, the square root of 2500 will be 50 millimeter. You are free to use a calculator. Just make sure to show the answer and show what you're doing to the 2500. It's important for you to draw this symbol to show the examiner that you know what you're doing, and you will have the answer 50 millimeter. As simple as that. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Find the volume. This is also easy. I will give you some time. Carry on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's time. So to find the volume, we have already learned in our primary school that the volume of a cube is length times width times height. Alright, length times width times height. What you should do, since we know that all of the values for length, width and height are the same, it's easy to conclude that all you have to do is take 50 and times it by itself 3 times. 50 times 50 times 50, you will have 1, 2, 5, and you have 3 zeros, which get you, which the unit must be millimeter cubed. Remember, you're finding volume. That's it. As simple as that. This 50 times 50 times 50 can be written down in a cubic notation, which is 50 cube. That's it, and we are done. Alright. Do you have to write this? It's up to you, it's optional, but it's alright if you don't write it. It's completely fine. Okay, now for this problem solving question, you might have noticed that you don't actually need to have the understanding of cubes and squares and square roots or cube roots to solve this question. These are kind of logical, and you can find it without even actually using these concepts. But it's important for you to know these concepts, because in the future concepts, the future topics, in what you're going to learn, squares, cubes, cube roots, and square roots will pop up here and there at random. So having a strong understanding on how this actually works will help you progress in the other chapters much easily. So I hope that you have a better understanding now. If you have any questions, feel free to put in the comment section below, or you are also free to send me an email. Feel free, and as usual, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye bye.